Hey everyone, this is Blackhawk SC and welcome back to this channel. Back in February, PGI gave the Supernova boiler the ability to fire dual UAC-20s without ghost heat. This is a change which I guess a lot of people overlooked since the highly anticipated Warhammer 2C was also released at that time. But I've been wanting to see how the dual UAC-20s end up changing the boiler, which thus far hasn't been a very notable chassis in the game. Sure, before it was the only Supernova that had ballistic hardpoints, but you had plenty of other clan ballistic assaults already, even before the Mad Cat Mark II came out a few months later and made every other clan ballistic assault pretty much obsolete. With the Hunchback IIC earlier, dual UAC-20s gave that chassis a unique playstyle, so I think it'll do the same for the boiler. The boiler though has a couple of advantages over the Hunchback IIC. For one, it can actually carry a bunch of heatsinks to cool down those 20s, and it can pack a few supplemental weapons to increase its burst damage. Some people like to use SRMs instead of the NPLs, but I like the better accuracy of the NPLs, and the NPL and UAC-20 ranges sync better. In all, this boiler build can output nearly 100 points of targeted damage in less than 2 seconds, if it gets lucky and the ultras don't jam. The main weakness is the width of its arms, making your exposure time super long. You do have a side peek option with the right arm UAC-20 and the 3 NPLs, so I'd place that right arm UAC-20 in its own weapon group. Another issue is the high jam chance of the UAC-20s and how quickly heat builds up with the UAC-20 double tap, since you're usually engaging at shorter ranges. Both the UAC-20 jams and the heat is going to make you vulnerable to pushes, so the spoiler build is going to work the best when it has backup from the team. As you'll see later in the video, it's best not to attract too much attention. Get up close while keeping cover to your side. Engage one mech at a time and don't overextend. If you're peeking a single mech, it's usually worth it to expose both arms for a big alpha strike. But if you're potentially peeking multiple mechs on the other side, you can try that right side only option. After a few games with this build, I can say I really like it. It's one of those mechs that are good enough to carry matches with some skill and luck, but it's not so good that the games become predictable. These are my favorite types of mechs to play, so while I didn't recommend the boiler before, I do so now for the fun factor. I'd wait to buy it when it's on sale and only if you have MCs to spare. Looking at my skill tree, I focus on heat gen, cooldown, and make sure to get both UAC jam duration nodes in the firepower tree. I max out durability and cool run. You'll notice that I took off the radar depth nodes since LRMs took a big nerf in the last patch, and they're no longer as dangerous. Okay, let's get into a match. In this match, we're on Viridian Bog. Viridian can be a pretty good map for this build because there's a lot of opportunities for short-range engagements under the 300 meters, and that's kind of where I want to fight. Due to the slowness of the AC-20 UAC-20 velocity, and my team is following me right now, which is really good for me because it prevents pushes in my direction. See, I kind of over-peaked there. I was trying to get a good shot on that grasshopper that was standing still, but he moved at last minute. Because of how slow the AC-20 velocity is, it missed him even with that a little bit of movement. That initial engagement with the 3 mechs opened up my left torso, which wasn't very good for me. But the enemy team is starting to back off, and they're not really pushing my way, which is good for me. As you can see, also, like, my team is, you see these blue blobs kind of pressuring the enemy team from the back, and that's also preventing a push from their side as well. They have a lot of firepower on the side of the hill, and they could have pushed either way, but they didn't do that and they kind of stood still and sort of got fired on both sides, from the right and the left. I still have some support with me to my right side, so I'm not really in danger of getting pushed on. So all I'm doing right here is, taking shots, taking alpha strikes, and then backing up to cool down. As you can see here, I'm just trying to check to make sure that I still have support in here. There is a Nova besides me, so I'm a little bit safe. Yeah, it's really hard to shoot moving targets with UAC-20s. It's just, you end up, if you take these shots, sometimes you waste ammo, and you risk your your AC is jamming as well. So that's not just the ammo that's the problem, it's also, the jams that you have to deal with. Man, we just destroyed that Timberwolf. Ate an entire Alpha Strike double tap uh, into its CT.
CT Bravo Nova.
That Annihilator's almost gone. And the Annihilator's a really tough cookie to crack, but even against the dual 20s, that armor can disappear pretty quickly. You should be able to see at various points in the match that I'm only just using that right side UAC 20, including that engagement with the Annihilator. I was trying to avoid shooting my friendly Nova in the back. So I was using the right side UAC 20 and the MPLs. Well, all that's left is to finish off a couple of remaining enemies now. And I think the enemy team lost this match because they were originally positioned pretty well, but they kind of just got stuck there. It didn't do any kind of rotations, and they ended up getting pressure from multiple sides. They were up 2 at the beginning, if you saw it. I think if they just pushed us in one direction, the match would have ended in their favor. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the presentation of the dual UAC 20 Supernova boiler, and do give this a try if you have the boiler already, or if you have extra MCs to spare. Subscribe to this channel for more videos like this, and I will see you next time.